everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are a beginner, then you have landed at a correct pace. If you are a beginner, you want to make your career in Python. If you are a beginner and you want to start your Python journey, then you have landed at a correct pace, because this is a Python course for beginners and this is a lecture 2 of that Python series. I have already created lecture 1, and if you are a complete beginner, you don't even have a basic information, then don't worry, but you have to go and visit lecture 01 first and then come back to lecture 02, because I am referring some of the examples and some of the pointers which is coming from lecture 01. Then you have to so you have to go back to lecture 01 and then come back to lecture 02. But if you have a little bit of experience and you know a bit of Python basic here and there of Python, and you want to restart your journey in Python again, then you can continue from lecture 02. Or maybe you have a little more of experience and you just want a little bit of more experience in Python, then you can jump directly to the lecture you want to cover. So that's it. Let's start. But before that, I want to tell you that feel free to put a comment in the comment box, because if you feel that if there is anywhere I am going very slow or going very fast and you want me to explain that topic thoroughly, because I think this is a basic, so I will be explaining it, but I will be explaining with 1 or 2 examples, not more than that. But if you want more examples, more deep explanation on any of the topic, feel free to comment in the comment box. I am going through the comment every time, and if I feel like that there is a more demand to make some video or some more explanation on some topic, I will be uploading that video very soon. Okay, so yeah, go ahead, feel free to comment and subscribe and share, because that gives me motivation to keep creating this kind of videos. Yeah, so that's all, and let's start to lecture 2.
यस सो लास्ट लेक्चर में हमने देखा था पाइथन, दैट वाज लाइक लेक्चर 01. सो उसमें हमने चेक किया था कि व्हाई पाइथन इज रिक्वायर्ड एंड व्हाट इज द पर्पस ऑफ पाइथन. सो बेसिकली पाइथन पढ़ने से आपको क्या बेनिफिट होंगे, बिकॉज वी ऑल नो दैट एज एआई इज बूमिंग, सो इवन दो यू हैव लाइक योर एक्सपीरियंस इन जावा स्क्रिप्ट, जावा और एनी अदर लैंग्वेज, if you know Python you will have benefit over others 100%. so Python तो बहुत ही जरूरी हो गया है आजकल. so all of us should know Python, at least basic of Python. so यही हमने देखा था फर्स्ट लेक्चर में. प्रिंट, हाउ टू डू अ प्रिंट इन पाइथन, देन वेरिएबल डिक्लेयर कैसे करते हैं, डेटा टाइप्स क्या होते हैं, कितने टाइप्स के डेटा टाइप्स होते हैं, कमेंट क्या होता है, इनपुट कैसे लेना है, आउटपुट कैसे करना है, and basic questions we have solved, basic adding 2 numbers, taking input, then performing addition, then printing the output, then printing the data type of the output. These kind of questions we have seen. Okay, so now in lecture 2, what is our agenda for today? So our agenda for today to complete the loops, because loops are very important. अगर आपका experience किसी और language में है, then you must be knowing that without loops we cannot even write basic code. so loops are very important. so आज के लेक्चर में we will see for loop and while loop, then उसके बाद if else condition, and then उसके बाद we will see string and basic functions, like how we do slicing of a string and what are the basic built-in functions of string is there, and then a function, because we will solve one problem at the end, and if we don't know the function we won't be able to solve it. so function is required, because हम जब भी अगर आप जाकर के कोई कोडिंग प्लेटफॉर्म पे जाओगे, जैसे लीड कोड पे जाओगे, गिग्स पे जाओगे, कहीं भी जाकर के आप अगर कोडिंग स्टार्ट करोगे तो वहां पे आपको फंक्शन से ही स्टार्ट होता है. सो आपको फंक्शन का बेसिक तो पता होना चाहिए. वेरी in detail we are not going to discuss about functions. I will just tell you what is function and the basic, how to take the input and how to return the output. okay, so ये देखेंगे फंक्शन के बारे में. उसके बाद एक छोटा सा प्रॉब्लम लीड कोड का एकदम इजी लेवल का क्वेश्चन हम देखेंगे. ओके, ठीक है, चलो स्टार्ट करते हैं. जैसे कि मैंने लास्ट लेक्चर में कहा था कि आपको अभी जरूरत नहीं है कोई आईडी अपने लैपटॉप पे या लोकल सिस्टम पे इंस्टॉल करने का. अगर आपके पास है तो बहुत अच्छा. अगर आप इंस्टॉल करना चाहते हो तो बहुत सारे रिसोर्सेज अवेलेबल है, बहुत सारे यूट्यूब वीडियोस जो है वो अवेलेबल है, जहां से आपको पता चल जाएगा कि कैसे इंस्टॉल करना है. बट आई वुड से कि अगर आप बिगिनर हो तो आपको जाना है पाइथन कंपाइलर पे. आपको जाकर के गूगल पे सर्च करना है पाइथन, ऑनलाइन पाइथन कंपाइलर, ये पेज ओपन हो जाएगा। सो आपका जो फर्स्ट फ्यू लेक्चर्स होंगे जिसमें आपको जरूरत नहीं है किसी आईडी का, आप यहाँ पे आके अपना लॉजिक, अपना कोड कर सकते हो, अपना प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हो, एंड देन उसके बाद हम लोग लीड कोड पे मूव करेंगे और लीड कोड पे सारे क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करेंगे। ठीक है, सो चलो अभी देखते हैं व्हाट इज लूप। ठीक है, सो लूप में हम फॉर लूप पे देखेंगे सबसे पहले। ठीक है, लूप पढ़ रहे हैं, लूप्स में हम क्या पढ़ रहे हैं, फॉर लूप। ओके, फर्स्ट फॉर लूप देख रहे हैं। ठीक है, ठीक है, अभी देख लेते हैं हम एस। सपोज एक स्ट्रिंग लिया हमने, स्ट्रिंग में हमने दे दिया काउंट। ओके, नाउ इफ आई वांट टू प्रिंट ईच लेटर ऑफ दिस स्ट्रिंग, हाउ आई विल डू इट? Okay, so there will be two ways to do that. One using slicing, but again if I use slicing I will tell you later how, but that is not a very good process because there can be like string which is of length like 1000 length, 10,000 length. In that scenario we cannot use slicing. ठीक है, so यहाँ पे loop का काम आता है. For example, how I will write for loop for C, like for C is nothing but the character in my string. Okay, so this is the syntax of for loop. कैसे for loop, and this will represent the element on which you want to perform any operation, and in my string list or in my any kind of structure, like whatever structure I have over here. Okay, so in this scenario, as is this string, and what will become my C one by one. First it will be T, in second iteration it will be from O, and in third iteration it will be M. Okay, so now if I print this, see, let's see what will happen. TOM. Okay, one by one. And now how I know that it is printing one by one? Okay, so what we can do, I want to print the index of this, like for example, T is 0th index, O is first index, M is second index. Okay, and I want to print that also. Okay, in that scenario what I will do, I will do like character index, and my character in my enumerate is a function C. What it will do, print I comma C. Okay, now let me run. See, now what is saying, it is saying 0th position T, first position O, second position M. Okay, so this is how we use for loop to iterate over each element. Okay, so now for example I have like something like what to say. For now it is, when we will go ahead and know about list, we will get to know and perform a lot many things over here. But for now, just to understand, for loop is used to iterate over each element of your data structure. Okay, so for in this scenario we have as our data structure. Okay, so how I iterate over my string. Firstly, what I did, I just did this, right? I don't have to use enumerate. Okay, this I have done, and then I have did the print of this. What just happened? I got this. But in some scenarios, I would say most of the scenarios, when we go ahead and start solving a problem, we will see that we have to perform some operation based on the index also, because index plays a very important role whenever we write a logic. So in that scenario, if we use enumerate, it will be very easy for us to also keep a track of the index. Okay, so अगर index आपको जाना है, then you can do this. Okay, so this is a for loop. Now what is while loop? Okay, so second loop is our while loop. Okay, what is while loop? So while loop is also the same thing. Like suppose we want to perform a certain thing over a number of times, then in that scenario also we can use while loop. But while loop comes with a condition, like perform this operation till something is true. In for loop, we are not providing any condition. We do not have to provide any condition. We just iterate over my entire data structure. Okay, but in while loop I can give a condition over here that iterate till my index is 1. For example, I just want to run my while loop till my index is 1. Okay, I just want to print first two letter of my string. What I will do that? How I will do that? Okay, then we have to perform a while loop. We have to declare a variable. Now st is my start, like from where I want to start. I want to start from 0th index. Okay, now my end. What will be my end? Till what time or till what index I want to perform or want my loop to iterate. So I want to iterate my loop till this second index. Okay, so how the second index will perform, like here I can give 2, or maybe what I can do, I just want to do length of s, whatever length of my s is there, in that it will be -2. Okay, why -2? When I do -1. Okay, and now if I print my end, okay, let me just comment it out. Okay, this one for loop. Okay, now let's see. What is my end? My end is 2. How? Now if I see what is the length of my string, what this function is like returning. See, what this function is returning, length of s. This is one of the function len which is used, very highly used to know the length of the string. Okay, if I run it, 3. So my length of string is 3. Like Tom is a 3-letter word, right? So length of my string is 3. Now if I give an end as 2, okay. So now this end is performing or giving me the index. So how the index starts? We saw that it is starting from 0, 1, 2. The length is 3, but my index is still 2. Okay. So if I want to know the last index of my data structure, then in that scenario I have to give this length of s minus 1. Okay. So now in our scenario we want to print, like each element of this form or each element of my string. Okay, but this time by using while loop. Okay, so how we will do it? While my st is less than my end. Okay, now how it is performing? For example, if we see in the first loop, my st is 0. Okay, and my end is 2. We have seen that, right? My st is here. I will write, right? See, my st is 0 and my, if we want to see my st comma or my end. Okay, okay, and now if I come here and we validate that, okay, my st is less than 2. In the very first case, my st is 0 and my end is 2. We have seen that length of s is 3 minus 1, that is coming 2. So yeah, this condition is true. So it will come inside, and what it will do? I just want to print, like s of st. Now, what is s of st? This is a slicing in string. When we will come to this topic, string basic functions and slicing, I will explain. Okay. So now this is how, for example, we want to print each element of, like as. So this is how, and this is one of the method to tell, like at which position, at what position I want to get or fetch the element of my string s. Okay, so now in the very first, as t is 0, which is less than 3, now print s of st, and after print, then after this I have to increment my st by 1, because The first time t will get printed for 0. I want to increment because it is at index 1. Okay, now my st will become 1 and my end is 2. Is still true, it will come here and it will print. Okay, now if I go up and I will see, let me just run it and let's see what is happening. Okay, see t0, like I said, we will just print till second position. Okay, so this is how we can use while loop to tell the condition and iterate the loop until this condition is true. So if I want to display the entire one, what I have to do, I just have to do, either I have to make this equal to, now see what will happen. Now my condition is true for the third one. Okay, now after second iteration, my st will become 2 and now my end is also equal to 2. So it is equal. So this condition 2, it will come back and it will print m. But then after that, my st will become 3, which is not less than or equal to end because my end is 2. So it will come out of this condition and it will print loop ends. Okay, and now what is my st? Let's see. See, my st is 3. Okay, so this is how while loop works. Okay, now this is about for loop. We have read for loop, we have read while loop. Okay, now I will come out here and we will go to another topic. Okay, so my third topic is if else condition. Okay, see what is if else. For example, I have like yeah, so now we have to check if else. Okay, now to check this, for example, I'm taking one variable. For example, I'm taking s variable which is of integer type. Okay, now if I check the data type of s, what it will be, let's see. It is 10. Yeah, of course. Now type. How to check the data type of like any variable? Using type. Okay, it is of class integer. Okay, now what is, for example, I want to check my variable. If it is like even number, then return me true. If it is an odd number, then return me false. Suppose we have to implement a logic for such kind of scenario. If my variable is even, then I have to return true, and if my variable by return I meant here print. Later on when we will learn about function, then we will see how return works, but for now we will take an example of print. Okay, so for example, if my variable s is even, then print true, and if it is not, then print false. Okay, so in that scenario, if else condition is like required. And when you start coding, you will get to know how important these if else conditions are, because we are going to check multiple conditions when we implement some logic, right? So this is very important topic. So once you will understand, it will be very easy for you to go ahead and implement and use it in any like heavy logical thing you are writing. So let's see how it works. For example, we have declared one integer variable. Now I want to check if my variable is even, then I have to return true, and if it is not, then I have to return false. Okay, so let me check. If my s module 2 equal to 0, that means it is even. I have to print, for example, I have to print true. Okay, else if not, then I have to print false. Okay, let's see. I got true, right? Why? Because my variable is 10, which is even. If I put it like 11, what will happen? false. Now here what is happening, it is just coming to this step first and it is checking if 11 mod 2 is equal to 0. No, in this scenario no, because there will be remainder 1. So it is going to else part and printing this. Okay. Okay, for true also we can remove this. Okay. Now if I put like 15 is even. Okay. Now I'm getting true. Okay. So this is if else condition, and you can also use instead of putting this if else, you can add multiple conditions. For example, using elif. For example, if my s mod 3, okay, equal to 1, okay, then print divisible by 3. Okay, now let's check. Now 16 is even number but not divisible by 3. Okay, now if I go and put 15, let's see what will happen. I'm getting false. Okay, oh sorry, this I have to put 0, right? See, now what I'm getting, divisible by 3. Yeah, my number is definitely divisible by 3. Now if I take an example of 29, okay, now what will happen? 29 is not an even number, it is not divisible by 3, so it will come here false, right? See, let's see. See, yeah, this is how if else condition works, and you can add multiple conditions using elif. Okay, so this is if else. Okay, now we will move to the topic. If you have anything or any problem, any doubt at any point, or if you think that I'm explaining too fast or too slow, let me know so that I can modify it accordingly, because I'm thinking that these things are not very hard and tough, and I know, and I'm just like thinking that you guys might be aware of some of these things, because these are very basic things. So that's why I'm not taking too much time to explain these things. Just one example is enough to explain all these things. Okay, so just let me know if you don't understand. I am very happy, and I will be very happy to create a separate video on this topic separately. Okay, just let me know in the comment whatever you think. Now going ahead, now coming to string. Okay, so like we saw, there are like multiple data structures are there, strings are there, list is there. If you go ahead, then you will see there are like higher level structures are also there, tuple is there, set is there, and then after that linked list will be there. Although linked list does not exist in Python, but you can implement it using list. So basically 4 measures I would say: string, list, tuple, set, and dictionary. Sorry, not 4, 5. Dictionary is also very important, because when you go ahead and try to implement medium level questions or hard level question, they are definitely going to use dictionary somewhere, right? So dictionary is also very important, and set and tuple are also very important. Like all these 5: string, list, tuple, set, and dictionary are very important. And if you go ahead using list, dictionary, these kind of things, you can implement linked list, queues, stack, all those things you can implement using these, all these 5 things. So now first we will learn about the thing. I think you have already understood string from above example what it is. So for example, I have already told you what is a string. So this is my first Python code. Okay, this is okay. So now this is my string, this is my first Python code. Okay, now we can use slicing. What is slicing? Suppose I want to fetch this first word. Okay, So suppose I want to print only first four words. How would I do? I have to give this as, and to use slicing we have to give or use the square bracket, and under this we can provide the position of an index. So for example, if I use something like this, okay, so basically inside of this square bracket we can provide two things. For example, starting from 1 to 4, this thing, okay. See what is happening. His, I'm getting his, no, but I want to print this, so I can also give 0 and it will work. But what I can do, I can also remove this 0, okay, because nothing can be there beyond 0, right? So if I want to give this something like this, it will appear like this, okay. And suppose if I want to use, like, 4 after 5, for example, I want to print this thing only, I just do not want to print first 4 letters, okay. So this is how it will work, is my first, okay. So this is how slicing works. For example, I want to print from here to here, मान लो यहाँ तक I want to print it, okay. So what I would do, -1 till -1, okay. So see, this is how it is getting printed. So you can use this like in a method of slicing, and within this slicing you can give the index, like what you want to, like, do the printing, or you want to, like, slice your string from what position to what position. So this will come very handy when you are going to solve, like, very logical problems. For example, if I want to see that this string of mine, is it palindrome? Now what is palindrome? Palindrome you have heard of, madam, right? This is a palindrome. So the word which start and end at the same letter, okay. For example, madam, it will, if we read it from here, madam, and if we read it from here, from back, madam, both are same. So if the right is equal to opposite of that word, I mean when we start reading from the right side, and is equal to when we start reading it from left side, okay. So that is our palindrome, okay. So for example, our madam is our palindrome, okay, but this string is not a palindrome. We can see that it is starting from this, but not here. We do not have this in the end, okay. So what would be the easiest way to check? We have already seen how if else can be used. So I can check if my string is equal to s of, now I'm using slicing, okay. So s of colon colon -1. What is colon colon -1? If I just print colon colon -1, okay, s colon colon -1, what is this? This is going to reverse my word, okay, reverse my string. See what it is doing, it is reversing my string. So what I am checking, this and this is definitely not same, right? So now I am checking, let me store this at some variable s1 probably, okay. Let me store it, okay. Now my, if my s is equal to s1, then print palindrome, okay. Sorry for the spelling, palindrome. And if not, then print not a palindrome, okay. Let me run it. Not a palindrome, obviously it is not a palindrome, okay. Now let me just make it madam, okay. Now it is a palindrome, obviously, because opposite of, let's see though, what is how s1 coming as s1, print s1, okay. Print s1, S1. Okay. Okay, print S1. Let's see. My S1 is madam. Okay. My S is also madam. My S1 is also madam. So that's why it is palindrome. Madams. Make me madams. Let's see. This is not a palindrome. My S is madams, but my S1 is S madam. So that's why it is not a palindrome. And now it is correctly falling into not a palindrome thing. Okay. So this is how we use slicing in our most of the logic implementation whenever we have to do something like this, or maybe we have to, like, break our string into something, right, in a small bots. Then in that scenario we use slicing, and it is very handy. When you start solving problem, you will get to know that if you know this trick, then you are going to solve a lot of, problem very easily. So just have practice, just try giving few index here and there and check how it works. So this is called a slicing thing. Slicing we have seen. Okay. Now, after slicing, we can see few functions also. Like we have already seen the len function, right? Print uh, len of. Let me just put everything here. Let me just put everything here. Len of oh yeah, sorry, len of s. Okay, len of s, it will give me the length of my string. Okay, so this can be what, this will be your one function. Now your second function is, like I said, type of s. If you want to check, okay, then you can see your type of s is string. Then there can be another function. Okay, my s dot is alphanumeric. If my s is alphanumeric, see, true. Now there will be another function print. There will be multiple other functions like print, s dot bar. See what is happening. See, similarly we have print as dot lower. So as dot lower will give you something like this. So there are multiple built-in functions are available. If you go on the Google and search any of these site, W3 schools, gigs for gigs, you will get to know like there are multiple built-in functions for string are available. So these functions are very helpful when you know them. And suppose you are writing a very medium level question or easy level question. So when you know this function, then this is going to save you a lot of time, because you don't have to write a 10 lines or 20 lines of code just to achieve these simple things, because these things are already available as in the form of built-in functions and we can directly utilize them. Okay, so these are the benefits of these things. And now coming to functions, we will just learn a bit of it, not in very detail like in OOP concepts. Okay, so I'll just show you like how to write a function, how to take or expect a input parameter from it, and how to return an output from it, so that when we are solving one example basic easy level question, we will be dealing with the function. That's why I have to add this topic here, otherwise this topic will not fall over here. Okay. Okay, so now is functions. Here comes in picture the function. Okay, so function, what is function? So function is nothing but to make our code more readable, reusable and simple. So for example, if we are taking one website example, so there the first page would be login, and for login there are thousands and millions of users who is login to that website. So in that scenario, we cannot use a same piece of code like multiple times. Okay, we can write one function, and each time any user is trying and clicking on that login, then this function will be called and his user ID and password will be taken and can be used to log into that website. Okay, so in those kind of scenarios where we have to perform a particular logic or particular piece of code like multiple times, then in that scenario function is like being used. So I cannot imagine, or you cannot imagine, a code without a functions which is like designed for very scalable system. Okay, so for example, if you go to your lead code, geeks for geeks, wherever, you will see this function will be there, and within this function you have to write your code. Okay, so what is function and how to define a function and how to utilize a function in your code, we will see in a minute. Okay, so what is the syntax of function? For example, so to define a function, so basically you have to write your function or define a function before your main function. Okay, so main function is nothing but where your code will start executing. That is a default function in any code, whether you write it or not, that will become your default function. And if you define any function explicitly, that will become a user defined function. Okay, so to define those kind of functions, you have to write this definition of a function first. So that will be def, and then your function name. For example, I want to take a palindrome. Okay, I want to check palindrome if my function is a palindrome or not. Sorry, if my string is a palindrome or not. So I'm just writing a function because I have a list of strings for which I have to check if my string is like palindrome or not. If it is, yeah, if it is palindrome, then I have to return true. If it is not, then I have to return false for that. And based on that true and false, I have to perform some other function. Okay. So this is how we are going to define our function, def function, your function name, and because I am going to accept a string, and on that screen I have to perform a check if that string is palindrome or not. Okay, so how do I accept a string? So for example, I'm just declaring one variable for my string, and that is of type a string. For that I have to write the class of that structure, data structure, which I am like accepting. It can be string, it can be integer, it can be your list, tuple, set, anything it can be. Okay, so you have to write it. And for example, okay, so and now how and what we are going to return as an output. Okay, so here in this case, like I said, we are going to check if my string is palindrome or not. If it is, then I have to return true. And what is true and false, that is boolean type. Okay, so I have to return a boolean type. Okay, so this is how we have to define our function, and within this I have to write a logic. Okay, first of all I'll print as, like what is my s, what I'm getting in the input, and then after that I have to write the logic if my s is equal to, like we have seen using a slicing, we can check if it is a palindrome. If it is equal to reverse of s, then print, sorry, we have to return. So instead of print, what print will do? If I use a print statement here, it will print over here while going through or executing this function only. If I return, then what this return will do, it will, when this function will get executed, whatever I am returning from here of this type will get stored outside of my function, and then after that I can use it, like whenever it is possible. So it is always good to use return instead of print, because if you use the print, then I will not be able to use the result of this function anywhere in my code. Okay, but in case if I am using this return, then I can store that result into another variable outside of this function in my code, and then I can utilize this that result wherever it is possible. Okay, so I'm just returning here true. Okay, if it is not, then I'm returning false. Okay, I'm returning false. Okay, now what will be, I'll come here outside of it, and what I will do, I will declare one my variable, like my variable I will declare. Okay, and this variable name and this, it is not required to be same. For example, here I can give my variable s, probably I'm giving. Okay, now here I'm giving madam. Okay, and how to call a function. So now this is a definition of my function, but if I just after defining my function, if I run a code, what will happen? Nothing, because this function will never get called, because I'm just defining my function but I'm not calling my function anywhere. Okay, so to call a function, how do we call it? We have to call it within a main function, okay, or maybe within another function. Okay, so for example, here I have to call it, and I want to store the result of this function into my result variable. Okay, my result variable, this, and then I'm calling this function. How to call it? The function using the name of the function, and because I am passing this one parameter to my function. For example, if I just run it like this, what will be the output? An error. What it is saying? That this function, check palindrome function, missing one required positional argument. Why so? Because I have declared that it is expecting a parameter. Okay, so that's why I have to pass a parameter. Now what parameter I will pass? I have to pass this parameter. Okay, because I want to check for this particular string that yes, if this string is a palindrome or not. Now I want to print this result and see. Okay, let's see before printing it what will happen. Now I have declared my function here. Okay, I have declared a variable madam, and I have declared the result variable in which I am storing the result. Now if I run it, what will happen? Still, see what is happening. I am getting this madam print from here. Okay, but nothing from here. If I remove this, okay, or maybe I'll just put one thing like string from inside of function. Okay, now see, this is coming from here, not from the result. I am expecting a result as a true or false, but no, I'm just like getting a print statement from here. So it is always advisable that do not use a print statement inside of your function. Use or store it in a return output, and then store it in a variable, and then print that variable if you want to see the result. Now if I want to see the result, what will happen? I'm getting true. Yeah, it is madam is a, actually it is a palindrome, so I'm getting it. If I put it as madams, then what will happen? No, it is false. Okay, it is not a palindrome. Okay, now I am not writing logic here. I'm just calling this function over here, and I have just defined the function over here. And now I'm getting the output of it. So in this scenario, we are just declaring one variable and calling this function and passing that parameter to function and storing and printing it. You might think that we could have written that code here. It would have worked. But yes, it would have worked, but here I am just defining one variable. Suppose I have to perform this on each and every word of string. For example, I have a string like, this is to check function, okay, palindrome, okay, example modem. Okay, so now for example I will run a for loop for each of these word. Okay, and it will I will call by function for each of this word. For example, for the first time for this, it will go and check if this is a palindrome, it will return false. For similarly, it will work for all and I will get false. But when it will come to madam, it will return me true. So this is not the best scenario to explain it, like what is the purpose of function, but I'm just trying to explain you like what is the purpose of function whenever we have to write a code which is reusable, which we have to use it like for multiple times, then in that scenario function is like really good to use. Okay, so this is probably not a good example. When we will learn for a list or something, we will get to see what is actually the function of what is actually the purpose of this function. Okay, so yeah, so that's it about the function. Now we will, what is next? Now we will see a easy level problem in a string. Okay, so to solve that, let's go here and let's see what do we have here. So see, this is a valid palindrome we have already checked. Okay, valid palindrome. Now what this problem is saying, this is a lead code, this is a lead code problem, easy problem, and for a string. Okay, so now what this problem is saying, this problem is saying a phrase is a palindrome. This is your input, a man, a plan, a canal, a Panama. Okay, after converting all uppercase into lowercase like a to small, like for example a to a, see, and removing all non-alphanumeric characters. Non-alphanumeric character is this comma, space, space, this colon. Okay, so these are non-alphanumeric characters. It reads the same forward and backward. Okay, a man, we can see that a man. Okay, a plan, but after removing, like it is saying, converting upper to lower, converting uppercase to lowercase, and second we have to remove the alphanumeric characters. Okay, then after that we have to check if it is like true or false. Okay, so for example, for this one, a man, a plan, a canal, a Panama, after removing all these things, it is coming as this and it is a palindrome. Okay, now raise the car, after removing a space, it is not coming as like, because there is a C, RAC, then A, but now there is no A, there is E. Okay, so this is a false. So what is our job? Our job is to take the string as an input in a function, which we have already seen how to do it, and then remove all non-alphanumeric characters like this, colon, space, comma, everything. Okay, and then check if it is a palindrome or not. Okay, so you can see here I have written a code. You have to go to lead code, make an account in lead code. It is very important step. You have to make account on the lead code. Okay, and I will set the link of this question in the description box. You can try by yourself also. Okay, now like I said, the function, it is very important that you know how to write a function. See here also, I'm just defining a function. The function name is palindrome, and self is required. It is a default. If you write it, then it is good. If it is not, then that's okay, because it will be taken as default. Okay, then as is our input parameter, which is expecting, which is of a string, and then in return as an output, which data type we are returning, a boolean. What it is saying, we have to return true or false. If it is a palindrome, then true. If not, then false. Okay, now see what I am doing. I am using a while loop. So while loop requires one condition. So here the condition is my st and end. So st is start. It will start from first position. It will start from first position, and my end is len of s minus 1. What is my len of s? The entire length of my string minus 1. That will give me the last index position. So my condition is while my st is less than end. Obviously, it will always be. Okay. And then what I am checking, If not, s of st dot is alphanumeric. If you remember, here I have told you there is one built-in function, right? Is alphanumeric or not? Okay. So what is alphanumeric? This function is checking. It is checking that if a string it is completely alphanumeric. What is alphanumeric? Like there is a alphabets and the numeric letters, other than there is nothing. If there is something other than that, then it will return false. Okay. If there is no extra character, only alphabet and numeric is there, then it will return true. So that is what I am checking over here. So basically, I am utilizing the same is alphanumeric. Okay. So if my S of ST is alphanumeric, that is, for example, for A, it is true and I am negating it. Okay. If it is not true, then I have to increment it with ST plus 1. Okay. So for example, for first iteration, when my ST is 0, it will come here like A. Okay, so clearly this condition is not true. So it will go to second condition. It will check. Now it will check for end. Okay, so no, my end is also alphanumeric. So it won't do anything. Okay, now it will come to this condition and now it will convert my A to lower, this A to lower, and then it will check if it is equal or not. So in my scenario, it is equal. Okay, so this condition is false. So this condition is basically false. It won't go inside of it and it will come to last condition, that is else, and it will increment my ST to plus 1. Now my ST will become 1 and it will come here, this space, extra space, and my end will become minus 1, which is M. Okay. Now when while loop start, my ST is 1 and my 1 position is this space. Okay. So now this will become true. Okay, because this is this is not an alphanumeric, this is an space. Okay, so now my ST will get incremented by ST plus 1. Now my ST will point to M and now my end is pointing to M. Again my loop starts and now my ST is pointing to this and this is pointing to this. So obviously this condition will get false, this will get false, this will become false because this am and this am is equals. So it will again come to this condition and my ST will get incremented to plus 1, which will become point to A. It will start pointing to A and my end will again start pointing to A. So in similar fashion, for each and every element, if it finds any non-alphanumeric, then it will increment and move to next character, either for start, for end, and if it is an alphanumeric, then it will convert it to lower and then compare. Okay, so in this scenario, it is success. It will come out of the loop successfully and at the end it will return true, like we have seen in the test result. Like the first one, it has returned true. For the second case, as we have seen, like for the first one, okay, it is true, it will increment to A. Okay, it will match. Third one will also match, but what will happen to E and A? It don't match. Okay, so that's why it is returning false. What will happen at the last character? E is not equal to, it will come here, it will see, okay, my E is not equal to A. So it will return false over here. So it will just come out of my loop and it will return false to me directly. Okay, so this is what is happening here. And if I execute this one, like we have seen, it is like successfully, all the test cases has been successfully executed. This is how a code is written within a function utilizing, like I said, while loop, whatever we have read in today's lecture, while loop, if else, elif condition, returning, everything, like all the built-in functions, like how to use the slicing and the built-in function, how to define a function, how to return an output from the function, all those kind of things. Okay. So thank you everyone. So we'll share the link and everything of this, like the code which we have solved just now. I will share the link of this in the description also. You can just go ahead and create your account on the lead code and try by yourself. Okay, and I will also share like whatever like we have performed over here, like whatever we have done over here. I will also share all these things in the description. You can go ahead and just have a look. Okay, yeah, so that's all.
Thank you guys for watching my videos. If you like the videos, please like, subscribe and share, because it gives me motivation and I will keep creating like these kind of videos. And if you think that I have missed something, some of the topic I have missed, and you think that some of the topics needs more explanation, a separate video, then go ahead, put it in the comment box. I regularly monitor the comment box, and if I think that more demands are coming to make a separate video on certain topic, I will be more than happy to create that video. Yeah, so that's all from my side. Thank you and keep watching. I hope that this will help you to build your career. Yeah, so from that, if you want like guidance to build your career in a data engineering, then feel free to connect with me over TopMate. I will be leaving my link of TopMate in the description. You can connect with me over TopMate. Suppose if you are a fresher and you are in your last year of college, and if you are already have like working somewhere and you want to change your domain to data engineering, or maybe if you are working already in data engineering and want to switch to a better company, then please go ahead and connect with me over the TopMate. I will be there to guide you like how you can switch a job from one role to another, how you can switch from your current company to better company, like what are the tools and technology you need to focus on, what are the methods and what are the ways you have to like start preparing. So yeah, because I have total 8 years of experience in this domain, data engineering domain, and I have like enough experience. I have switched multiple jobs, so I know like how to prepare for interviews and what are the things you have to focus on so that you can crack a good company. So yeah, feel free to connect with me over the TopMate, and then we will discuss more about it. And if you want also to like review your resume, then you can also connect with me over TopMate. Like I said, I will available over there, and we can connect over there to talk about it and discuss about it. And so thank you guys, bye for now.